Bro, Vegeta's pants are absolutely stuffed with fish right now. This may surprise you, but I love— wait, I already did this in the last video. Hold on. 2003. Dragon Ball Z. These things vaguely rhyme, but what else do they have in common? Why, Legacy of Goku 2 for the Game Boy Advance, of course. Only 1 year after the modest success of the first game, developer Webfoot cooked like their life depended on it and saw it fit that we get more of that sweet action RPG sauce slathered on our collective hams. Just like the first game, I've never played it till now, and also like the first game, I remember it being everywhere. So today I set out to confront the hype I remember as a child and find out if it lives up to that lofty memory. Based on comments and feedback from the first video, I have high hopes for this game. So if it's bad, I hold all of you personally responsible. So I wrote this intro like a week and a half ago, and I left a note that just says Gen 1 Machop joke, and I don't remember what that means. Do with that what you will. Developed by Webfoot once again and published by Atari, this follow-up entry kicks off with this pretty sick intro. Like, the music and visuals are pretty good for a 2003 Game Boy Advance game, and it's way better than the start of 1. The start screen has character, and it looks nice. We get several save slots to choose from too this time around. So a new game, it starts with a lot more style and exposition. The text boxes are far more stylized here too. Looks nice and right on brand. The game gives us this refresher on the story so far, unlike the first game, and a reminder that Goku and company are aliens capable of destroying planets. Already, the character portraits are looking way better. And as we open in the future, we see a charming young man named Trunks giving us some exposition in a conversation to future Gohan, and Gohan just destroys him. So yeah, our mad lad Trunks is the biggest mad right now about the androids that have turned this future into an apocalyptic wasteland. Gohan doesn't want him to fight though. I hear he's pitiful. There's a tutorial this time. Okay, hello. It's quick, practical, and even makes narrative sense as a warm-up exercise for Trunks. Movement and attacking feels good. Movement speed has been improved, thank God. Trunks tries to go... I wrote Super Aryan in the script. Trunks tries to go Super Saiyan, but can't, and then the training is interrupted by those dang old battle droids, so Gohan takes off. Before we follow, though... oh yes, look at that. Stylized, informative. There's a journal for quests, stats, a move list. This is a huge step up from the first game. There's even a sleep mode in the options. Remember that? Remember having to rely on the game to have a sleep option instead of it being a standard? Good times. Sadly, Gohan is having none of this and knocks Trunks out with a proper chop to the neck, setting off to fight the androids alone despite, losing a whole ass arm to them before. Oh, and flight is now a travel mechanic specific to these pads. Much better, makes way more sense. I like it. We arrive just in time to see Gohan cosplaying as a training dummy and cut away from the scene as Trunks is overcome with rage and transforms. Back to the present, where we gain control of our main character of the Cell Saga, the teenage Gohan. He's pretty impatient for Goku to return from canceling Frieza's subscription to life. Hey, we got our first quest, and we get informed about how it works. This is beautiful. Okay, so find the math book. Got it. I can't get over how much better everything looks and sounds. Webfoot really outdid themselves here. Almost every complaint I had with the first game has already been addressed, and I've been playing for less than 10 minutes. I guess we'll see how it handles my remaining complaints, but I'm getting really excited to play, so let's find that book. Even today, being able to explore Goku's house is so cool. An explanation on picking up items. And even a cute little pickup animation. Let's see... yeah, item explanations. That's another complaint down. Gohan sits down to study, yawns, and takes a little nappy instead, which is pretty relatable. When he comes to, the sun is shining through his now open window, and he decides to head out for some fresh air. And another complaint down, saving is done at specific save points, so no more abusing that. And they're very clearly marked and hard to miss too. Nice. A little exploring, and we pick up this capsule and get a nice explanation of what it does, and the inventory also gives a brief refresher on its function. The way this is going, it feels like Legacy of Goku 1 was a proof of concept or something, because Webfoot clearly knows how to design a game. I still wish there was one step ahead of me, I see. Thank the various elder gods, we can finally run some urgency. Finally. And here we run into a level gate that requires we be a certain level and character to progress, and I really like this. It's super video gamey for sure, but it also ensures that you're always at the bare minimum level to handle what's next. There's definitely downsides to this, but I think it fits fine here. Do a vandalism and run into a few trees because I like the little animation when you hit something while running. I also stop here to make notes and find another charming little idle animation, and each character even has a different one. Right, time for some psychological horror. We see this slightly off Goku and Gohan talks at him, but he goes non-verbal like me and becomes Frieza. Sadly not like me. This was interesting. I died quite a few times as I got used to the combat. Overall, it feels way better. Far more accurate and forgiving with hitboxes, at least as much as an isometric angle like this will allow for. These death screens continue to be amazing. Melee combat feels pretty good. Your hits feel responsive and weighty and satisfying to hit with, and ki is now something to ration and use strategically. In the first game, it just refilled itself rather quickly. I am loving this so far, and it turns out the fight was all a dream. Gohan wakes up and realizes he was sensing Frieza's energy. Krillin felt it too and came to let you know. It's off to battle, and Gohan needs his Saiyan armor. The character sprite even changes to reflect the armor, but if he was trying to keep it hidden, why put it in a big ass chest in plain sight in a cave? Just asking. We head out to the other side of the cave and find a world map which lets us travel to... God, I love this game. So the world map is like the ones in the Sparking games. Something I loved about them. Except here, it's full-on fake 3D using some perspective tricks, and it looks amazing. This would have blown my mind as a kid. We even get a destination marker. Oh, this game is good. Head to the destination, and this time around, we have some actual enemy variety. Different methods of attack, different stats, different designs, the whole package. I hate these little beetle bastards so much. While I die a few more times, I want to mention the music. It exists, and it's better now. Nothing crazy or worth mentioning specifically, but it's less generic, and a few of the tunes even got stuck in my head once or twice. This wasteland is filled with furries in leather jackets. Don't fight me, I'm one of you! So yeah, combat is already pretty fun. The damage numbers are shown above the sprites, so you can actually see crits and such, and it requires some actual effort here. I should mention, even with a good handle on the combat, this game is challenging. It's definitely not shy about expecting you to get good with the tools that it gives you. After I spend some quality time grinding on furries and dying a lot, it's time to progress some story. Getting through the wasteland sees us reuniting with all the other Z fighters ready to confront certain death in the form of Frieza. Does a good job hyping up Frieza too. All the Z fighters here are basically like, yep, we gonna die doing this shit. I've always wished we got more of King Cold though. It would have been pretty neat to see more of their power in the way that the royal family works. Sadly for me, after Frieza exits his ship, he's stopped by future Trunks, who promptly tans Frieza's wrinkly hide and gives the king the old 7-10 split. I love King Cold's reaction here, the sprites are so expressive. Trunks tells us he knows when and where Goku is going to return from Namek, and it's now, and it's nearby. The heroes follow him without too much question, since Trunks could obliterate all of them at this point. While we wait for funny fightmen, Trunks says some cryptic stuff, and then Goku crash lands in an odd outfit he refuses to explain. The gang gets Goku up to speed, and Trunks and Goku get some privacy. Trunks drops the info that he's from 20 years into the future, the state of the world, and Goku's fate. In 3 years, these androids will appear, and Goku will have been struck down by a heart virus. Fortunately, Trunks has an antidote, and he's totally down to play with the timeline. I'm very happy that they included dialogue beyond the bare minimum this time. It feels like I'm, playing a game based on a beloved franchise with plenty of character to pull from. Well, with this info in hand, time to train. We return to Goku's house and head south to grind. Sweet 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus, they referenced the Garlic Jr. movie to explain why the animals are hostile. The Blackwater mist is actually used as a reasonable explanation. This is incredible. The core RPG elements are great here. I want to grind. I want to experience more combat with more enemies and get powerful enough to face down whatever I come across. These wild dogs, I think, are horrifying. Little side note, I like it that when you level up, it tells you your stat increases. A mechanic that's carried over from the first game is finding things in rocks, except this time, they're not storable items, they're pickups, for both ki and health, so no hoarding items this time around. The only item you do get is up to 3 senzu beans at a time, so being careful and strategic is essential. It's way more funny to me than it should be, but you can find whole cooked chickens in rocks, and it made me laugh for like a solid minute. Moving on. Time to hit up West City. Looks like there's a parade today, and this float is blocking our path. It's him. Oh, he's glorious. Mr. Satan won't get this party started until someone gets him an open-faced club sandwich, so I see where this is going already. He gave us an autograph, and I have a suspicion that this is a huge give this to this person to get this thing another person needs, etc. type of quest. And no one is getting Hercule a damn open-faced club sandwich. Time to solve this national disaster. Yo, it's Circuit Shack. How much you think for that Game Boy and some of these Genesis games? I like the commercial that plays on all the TVs. It just says papaya over and over. This is art. It's nice that we get these little map posts, but I still really would like a proper map I can use. Dr. Vinyl, we find a super hipster named Cosmo here, and I have a bad feeling he's going to tell me to name 3 songs by the artist on my band tee. So as I explore, I'm already seeing what's going to happen, and I question why they're making us spend time doing this. This is fluff we really didn't need, and it's not great for the pacing of the game. Whatever though, we're playing through. Oh my god, this poor lady. Thoughts and prayers. Calling it right now, we're gonna have to run back and forth between all these stores. See, me going through all these actually had a point. And calling it was a good idea because I was right. Here's how it works. We need a paper to give to the chef at the restaurant so he can give us a goddamn open-faced club sandwich so we can give that to Hercule. But the newspaper person is apparently to the north of town observing a school bus crash. Since I'd never leave a child in danger in a video game, we have no choice but to go help those kids. Right after I spend like an hour grinding. We're coming to save you, I promise. Oh god, this kid is about to get eaten. Punch some wolves and that's 1 child saved out of a number bigger than 1. We also run into Yajirobe, who gives us a senzu bean. I love Yajirobe. We find another kid in a cave, get the shit kicked out of us by some wild animals, and fly down this cliff with a small girl on it, and deja vu. Weird. More snakes, more wolf things, and more chicken boulders. We run to the newspaperman with the kids, and he goes back to his stand. Gohan follows, and we got our paper, which means we can take it to the chef and finally get a fucking open-faced club sandwich. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So let's just get this culinary curiosity back to Bulk Brogan, and god damn it, that's not the end. I knew this was too fast. Now the music's all wrong for Mr. Satan's big parade. He needs... Eyes of the Lion. It's so stupid and I adore it. Off we go to Dr. Vinyl, but Hipster Man tells us it's old and busted, so we should check out the antique store. At the antique store, the guy just gives it to us because it's so bad no one would buy it. Yeah, okay. So now we're done, yeah? Yeah. Our path to Piccolo is open, but one thing first, Bulma wants to give us something over at Capsule Corp. I imagine it's important, and I like presents, so of course I'm gonna check it out. Here in the Garden of Capsule Corp, we can also find a dojo where we can fight some of the Z fighters for capsules and XP, but our goal is Blue Hair Mommy, so we must stay focused. We run into Dr. Briefs, and he gives us a side quest to find all 25 golden capsules that got lost. I will not achieve that in this playthrough. I get poor Gohan lost for a bit, and we consume a dangerous amount of Mrs. Brief's cookies. That's not a euphemism, I promise. We find Bulma, who greets us with the news that she has a scouter for us if we go to the electronics store in town and get the final part that she needs. Sick, let's do it. We hop on back to the lost holy land of Circuit Shack, and for once it's not a series of fetch quests. He just gives us the part. Once we get the part back to Bulma, she gifts us with a scouter. I finally got my map. Not only do I have a local map, you can scan people and things for little bios and stats on them. I love stuff like this so much, and there's even a database where you can look at all of them, which we'll get to shortly. Before that, we have a bit of a mystery on our hands. See, there's a security breach that we've just been tasked with looking into. Isn't there a looming crisis or something? Paul Blart here gives us the fat skinny on the scandal, and it turns out someone has taken off with experimental capsules. We get an access card that opens previously locked doors, and with a spring in our step and a scouter on our eyeball, we find a way up this tower and confront the thief who... Bro just tried to Pokemon battle me, but thankfully, my fist is super effective against Zigzagoon here. Turns out Caps Corp is literally making Pokeballs now. Capsules that can hold living things. Gee, I'm mentioning Pokemon a lot. Is that foreshadowing? Now that we've apprehended the miscreant and put him in laser jail, we get the red key card and can access that database I mentioned before. Neat. Off to Piccolo. This is where we're introduced to character swapping, which can only happen at save points. Characters don't share levels, so they have to grind separately, but they do share an inventory and are thankfully decently leveled when you get access to them. It ain't easy being green, but young Gherkin here needs to speak to the mayor. And when we do, we learn about Triceratops rampaging in a town nearby, and so the fluff continues. Does the phrase androids ring a bell? Anyone? Why is no one concerned? It's not as if this filler is all that bad. It's varied and in character for the series, but it did completely halt the pace that the game had, at least for me. Either way, off we go to the south to do something about those horny dinos. Time to grind up before that, and this is something I noticed throughout the game. When you gain a new character, these Kuma mercenaries show up in the next area. They're relatively easy to kill each time, but they're always worth crazy XP. I don't know if this was an intentional design choice, but it is beautiful. It's so subtle I didn't even notice this until near the end of the game. Then again, I'm also a goldfish-brained goblin, so maybe that's a factor in me noticing things. All these environments are so nice and varied. It's colorful, detailed, and very pretty, which is a sharp contrast to the mostly samey environments of the first game. Well done, Webfoot. Once we head south, we get trampled. Well, so there's this Triceratops king that lives in this corn maze. Okay. And he's making all the other Triceratops really ornery. Okay. So we have to walk through this maze and avoid packs of Triceratops that will stun lock you and are invincible. Why aren't we just flying over this shit? A maze only works when you can't see the layout. We can fly. Why are we getting trampled into Relish right now? Logic aside, we make it to the king and he completely wrecks Piccolo. This cycle continues for about 15 minutes before I switch to Gohan and realize how much better his stats are even at the same level. Gohan is way more effective, and we give the king a proper crowning, which has him apologizing and promising to live in peace with the villagers before he goes to sulk. Can we finally meet up with Goku, please? Holy shit, on the way back to town, Cooler just drops by and tells us he's gonna wait for Goku on Namek for a fight. I love the incorporation of the movies in this game. Sadly, I forgot to check out this fight until I was already done with the game and writing the script, so Cooler's just up there waiting for years and years. Okay, Mayor McPup, we solved the issue, so... Someone just stole the key to the city as it was being gifted to Hercule, and he can't get it back himself because his leg was injured while fighting sharks. I do like the consistency of Hercule's character, making flimsy excuses to avoid an actual fight. So now Piccolo carves a swath of destruction through the nearby forest, destroying RPG using mercs and more of these frickin' beetles as he makes his way up in levels and through the forest. So at the end of this little rainbow of adventure, there's an old man who was apparently the one that actually took care of the city's bandit problem. He's mad about Hercule taking credit for his work, so he stole the key and sealed it in a nearby cave with magic. This dude scares me. Look, he says he went straight up medieval on those bandits, but he's willing to give it back without any trouble, and we let off some steam on his punching bag before we head off for the cave. This local map, by the way, love it. Wanna marry it. Makes things so much less infuriating. Key in hand, we get it back to the mayor so he can hand it to Hercule while no one listens to us trying to expose Hercule. Riveting. Finally, we meet up with Goku, and the devs knew this was tedious padding. When you talk to Goku, he asks if we had a good time in West City, and Piccolo says he doesn't want to talk about it. Now then, it's 3-year time skip time. Post-skip Piccolo can now use the special beam cannon, and Gohan can use the Masenko. Roshi has some other techniques for us though if we want to stop by. Well, we do want. Give me that shit. Getting to Roshi's island has us seeing Marin. I forgot she even existed, if you use the scouter. Her bio says the scouter can't detect any brain activity. So Master Roshi gives Piccolo the spinning punch, Gohan gets a super kick, and I forgot that charged melee attacks existed for the rest of the game, so this information is now useless to you. You're welcome, please subscribe. Now at Amenbo Island, we wait alongside all the Z fighters. Goku breaks the news that Trunks is Bulma and Vegeta's baby, and the androids are late. Don't they know who I am? So after they briefly feel the android's presence, the Z fighters split up to search the nearby city. Yamcha finds them first and does, well, Yamcha things. Goku doesn't want innocent people getting hurt by the fighting, so Father Time here just kills everyone instead. People can't get hurt if no people. Meanwhile, Vegeta is on a space rock having a meltdown that results in finally achieving Super Saiyan form. While Vegeta makes his way to everyone, Goku prepares to face off against the Michelin Man. I could be wrong about this, but it seems like every character has slightly different speeds and ranges and such. Not sure if that's just my imagination though. So while grinding, I decided to try out this here transformation, and let's talk about it. Super Saiyan mechanically makes you faster, tougher, and stronger, and it also feels pretty damn good. It drains your ki continuously, but you can also really beat down enemies while Super Saiyan, so it's a good balance. It's super powerful, but not sustainable. Making it a strategic choice was a good direction to go. You can't just pop into it either. You can be interrupted in the power-up animation. This means you need to weigh out whether this is a safe moment to try and power up or if you should wait. It makes grinding way more efficient too. Grinding on furries continues to be a favorite hobby of mine as Vegeta's level shoots higher than my mom's expectations. And after about a half hour, it's main quest time. Back to Goku as he assaults the funny Marshmallow Mechano Man, completely overpowering him. But then, suddenly, Goku's heart is attacked by the virus Trunks warned us about, and he collapses right as Vegeta arrives on the scene. I lock in that Super Saiyan transformation and absolutely beat the hell out of Android 19. Easy, easy. Dr. Garo lives up to his name and vomits out some trash talk before running away, and Vegeta publicly strokes his own ego before taking off after him. So naturally, I instead switch to Gohan and grind some more. I keep getting impatient with the pacing, and then I spend an hour just punching random enemies, and I am aware of my contradiction. Still gonna do it though. Time to switch back to Vegeta and brutalize an old man. It's around this time I started to figure out that the hitboxes are very literally based on the sprites themselves. Meaning if an enemy is above you, they're harder to hit than if they were below you because of the slight overlap in the sprites. I still lose fights in stupid ways, even knowing this. So with the Doctor humbled, Trunks pops up. Vegeta connects the dots on him being his son from the future, and Trunks is powerfully confused because 19 and 20 aren't the androids from his future. In the confusion, the Doctor takes off, proclaiming that 17 and 18 will kill us all. We don't want that. So let's find his lab and take care of this right now. After about 10 minutes of decimating the local wildlife, Wrinkles pops in for a quick beating, which I happily provide. This hit and run is going to continue for a while, by the way. Get ready. You know the drill by this point. I grind, I wander, and I get to Dr. Garo's supervillain Lex Luthor-ass lair, complete with robot underlings that explode when they die. Sadly, we can't get into this place as is, but we have a clear objective here in the form of finding and destroying the generators powering this giant gate. We take 10 steps to the west and trip over the Doctor once again. He's really gonna keep trying this shit. Ah yes, we know all furries travel in a V formation. I wander into this cave filled with switches, which I ignore for now because I'm no orthodontist and colors are too hard as a result. On the other side, we have this awful house with awful lawn decor that's blasting awful music. It's all awful, but inside, we meet the Vinny. I wish I had this man's raw, unwarranted confidence, but sadly my species just isn't capable of it. I have to assume those switches open this door in the Vinny's house, which I also assume has a generator behind it. We'll come back in a bit for that though. I headed east instead, hit the first generator, and once again, I diagnosed the Doctor with a severe case of smashed in face and move on. So, we're gonna climb this mountain here. So, at the top is a generator with a dinosaur wrapped around it using the heat to keep her eggs warm. So, of course Vegeta is a nice guy and offers to escort each egg one at a time down the mountain to this little hot spring area. We can carry one at a time, we cannot attack, and taking a single attack breaks the egg. I spent a very long time doing this compared to how long it should have taken me. I started to think I didn't know how to egg. That's ridiculous. I know how to egg. I do it all the time. So yeah, we get the 3 eggs down the mountain as my blood pressure rises, and finally that's one more generator taken down. The dino's design makes me uncomfy in a way that I can't really explain. Heading back to Vinny's Cave of Switches, this was about when I decided to use a guide for a hot sec. The proper way to solve it is to talk to all the townspeople below Vinny's house. Each of them will trigger lyrics from the music that Vinny's playing, and each one has a color in it. I used a guide because I was exhausted from moving and a litany of other things, but the important thing here is, why is this in your goddamn house, my guy? Sadly, this is the end of the Vinny's electricity-based riz. We'll never forget you, Vinny. All the generators are taken care of, and we can get in that old man's secret hole easily now. I cannot get over the character portraits. Some of them look so good, like number 20 looks so menacing here. I love it. Anyway, the doctor wakes up androids 17 and 18, who are both very unimpressed with him. They destroy the remote control as the Z-Fighters arrive, but 17 and 18 just do not give a shit. Instead, they wake up number 16 against Garrow's warning, and send Garrow to the recycle bin. Trunks gets mad and tries to destroy the androids along with the entire lab, but he's just not good enough. Alright, android pursuit time, let's get it on. Vegeta finds them pretty quick and gets a pretty major ego check despite me absolutely dominating the actual fight. Android mommy knocks out literally everyone except Krillin and takes off. Vegeta screams and flies off. Piccolo tells everyone else to get Goku someplace safe to recover, and then he says some cryptic stuff before leaving and telling everyone not to follow or they'll be sorry. Thankfully, Krillin susses it out and explains that Piccolo likely went to Kami's lookout to fuse with Kami, reuniting Piccolo's 2 separated halves. Talking about this is weird with Daima hitting its finale. Time isn't real, I swear. So Kami already knows what's up since they share thoughts with Piccolo, but Kami wants a little time to see how things play out. He's not convinced that 17 and 18 are the actual threats to Earth in this timeline that they are in Trunks's. Piccolo agrees to give him some time. We cut back to the gang at Goku's house, contemplating next moves, and Bulma waltzes in with a picture from one of her corporation's literal surveillance satellites. The picture in question shows the same time machine Trunks used to get to this time. It's a one-of-a-kind, and it seems more time travel shenanigans are happening. Time to investigate using our newest character, Future Trunks. We're gonna stop by Korin's tower first, though. Master Korin won't give us any more of his magic beans. He'll trade us one for every 3 fish we bring him, though. I forgot to ever give him fish, and I didn't run out of beans until the very end of the game. Once again, this information is useless to you, and once again, you're welcome. Kindly drop a like. Back to the actual objective. More grinding ensues, we find the time machine, and it looks all kinds of old and fucked up. Something blasted its way out and left behind this egg thingy. So of course, we're gonna go looking for the little face-hugging bastard. Trunks also deduces that this time machine has been here for about 4 years. This is where I stopped trying to follow all the timelines and paradoxes, cause man does it get convoluted. The key point here is that this thing has been here since before Trunks came to this timeline 3 years ago, and it probably carried something bad. A few screens later, I get jump scared by a pirate robot. Fun fact, this thing only appears in the anime and these games despite its great design. Boy tries to roast me but gets cooked instead, and we find this cicada exoskeleton. It's concluded it probably has something to do with that egg in the old time machine. I've always been kind of sad that we never get to see like larval bug cell crawling around and doing stuff. I don't know, I like niche things. We cut back to Kami telling Piccolo that he has apparently known about this giant bug thing for a while and knew it was going to be a massive problem, and he told no one. Cut back to the Z-Fighters again, and we catch a news broadcast saying that all 15,000 residents of the city just vanished, leaving behind nothing but clothes. This is where I'd make another questionable joke, but that's too easy. Kami gives Piccolo a final little speech before deciding it's time to fuse with Piccolo and reach their super Namek potential. This also triggers Piccolo to say some edgy shit and call himself the Namek. Yeah, alright, let's go stop Bug Boy right after some grinding. You knew this was coming. Here we get to see what this super Namek transformation can do, and Piccolo literally just takes off his cape and hat. Puts him back on when he reverts too. I'm easily amused and thought this was hilarious. Okay, off to Ginger Town to stop Cell. Piccolo confronts him, Cell fucking hisses at us, and Piccolo says, "Call me the Namek," which Cell politely does. as he also says he's gonna enjoy absorbing him. This fight was pretty one-sided for me. Punch Cell up and down this place till he hits about half health, at which point he uses a Kamehameha and blows off Piccolo's arm. As a last request, Piccolo asks Cell to explain what's going on and who the hell he is. Cell obliges and formally introduces himself as a bio-android made by Dr. Garo, incorporating cells from the greatest fighters known at the time. Goku, Frieza, Vegeta, Piccolo, it's all in there. Cell also explains that as they speak, Dr. Garo's lab is incubating him in an underground bunker. To top all of this off, Cell reveals he needs to absorb androids 17 and 18 to reach his perfect form. See, in his timeline, Trunks destroyed the androids before he could absorb them, so Cell hijacked a time machine, reverted to larval form, and came back here. This long conversation gave Piccolo enough time to regrow his arm, but just as he's about to teach Cell a lesson, Cell flies off. Then Vegeta flies in and marvels at Piccolo's new power. The other fighters join us, Piccolo explains everything, and we take off for the doctor's lab. I wandered for a moment in the wreckage because I wrongfully assumed the bunker would be under the former lab. Then I checked the map and realized no, it's past a Trunks level gate. Behind said gate, we find the bunker, which features a little blueprint image of Cell on the table, which is pretty cute. Not so cute is this tiny Cell fetus, which Trunks quickly disposes of. He blows up the central computer, which starts a self-destruct sequence, and we escape as the lab caves in on itself. It's all very dramatic. Time to go check up on Goku, and good news, he's doing well. Completely fine now, in fact. He hops out of bed and already had sensed the situation while asleep, which means he knows we're in some deep, dark trouble. Since time is of the essence, Goku opts to use the hyperbolic time chamber, a pocket dimension of sorts where time flows far, far faster than our world, allowing seemingly rapid training and powering up. Upon following Goku, it's learned that only 2 people can enter the chamber at once. So it's gonna be father-son pairings one at a time. Vegeta and Trunks opt to go first, with Goku telling Piccolo he should probably head back to Roshi's island to intercept the droids. Which is exactly what we do because I would never blow off a main quest to power level. Sadly for the androids, Goku can't come out and play today. But our lime-flavored alien is here for a good time instead. Piccolo leads them off to a more isolated locale and the fight begins. Going super Namek has me smacking around 17 pretty damn effectively. His health hits a threshold, the island gets destroyed, and the androids relocate our dance. Piccolo puts on his boogie shoes and 2-steps android 17 right to the ground. Right after I died about 5 times trying to clear this fight. Oh good, Cell showed up. I'm sure he's definitely not going to absorb android 17 in a way that will awaken a new fetish in people. Ew. Cell powers up to his second form and gains the juiciest goddamn lips ever as Tien Shinhan gives his all to stall Cell, allowing 18 and 16 to escape. Goku swoops in, grabs Piccolo and Tien Shinhan, and swoops out back to Kami's tower. Now a day has passed, which is a year in the chamber, and Trunks and Vegeta come out looking ready to rumble. They get appraised of the situation, and Vegeta takes it upon himself to take care of Cell. I don't remember the part of the saga where Vegeta wipes out the entire population of animals on this over-inhabited island, but it happens. 45 minutes later, Vegeta faces down Cell. It's an interesting fight since Cell can use this melee with his tail that drains my health and restores his, but he gets taken down pretty easily. Trunks then arrives, and we watch Vegeta make one of the stupidest, most infuriating goddamn decisions of the entire franchise. Thanks to some smooth talking, Cell convinces Vegeta to help him vor Android 18 and become complete. Ooh. Now in full cocky daddy mode, Papa Cell takes out Vegeta easily, and Trunks tries to make a stand using the full power of his ascended Super Saiyan form. Sadly, while it outclasses Cell in terms of pure strength, the ascended form is too slow and unsustainable, which allows Cell to very much have the upper hand. Before Cell can finish Trunks off though, a light bulb goes off in his head. He's going to hold a tournament. If the Earth loses, he destroys it. Simple rules. Trunks scurries back to Capsule Corp to tell everyone what's going on, and talking to Bulma here is when I realized you can move the text boxes in conversations. I spent a troubling amount of time being entertained by this. Anyway, Bulma is working on removing the bomb within Android 16, and I know nothing about bomb disarmament because I'm not a phlebotomist, so I head to the other Z fighters instead. I really like that Cell just green screened himself over the papaya ad. The stakes have never been higher. So Cell announces to the world about this tournament of his. Meanwhile, a freshly trained Goku kidnaps Dende from Namek to be the new Guardian of Earth. In order to make new Dragon Balls though, Dende needs all 7 of them. If you thought I bitched about pace breaking before, oh boy, you're about to see me really complain because this is a long and tedious backtracking quest. Now, the areas in the game are pretty fun to go through, the first time. Now though, we have to get the Dragon Radar from Bulma and go back to most of the places we've already been. Slowly backtrack through those areas with very little if anything new, and it took me about an hour and a half. I have absolutely nothing to say about it. I didn't even make any notes aside from mentioning that the Kamehameha and the Spirit Bomb are fun to play with. So an hour and a half later, we have the Dragon Balls. We return them to Dende, and he rigs it so that Shenron can grant 2 wishes now instead of just 1. With Dende working on that, we head to the Cell Games Arena. This final stretch is a test of your prep and skill with every single character. We start off with Mr. Satan getting PS1 Sephiroth out of the scene before Goku opts in to fight Cell first. The fight isn't too bad, though I don't know why Cell is massive here. Goku stops halfway in to acknowledge that he just isn't good enough to beat Cell, instead volunteering Gohan to fight. Goku knows something we don't, and Gohan steps into the fray. Again, this isn't too bad of a fight. It helps that I had Gohan down every single stat increasing capsule I've found throughout the game, I suppose. Gohan admits that he's been holding back his true power because he's terrified he might go out of control. This sparks Cell to try and anger Gohan, and here is the scene that stuck with me all my life. 16 tries to blow himself up on Cell, but with his bomb removed, it doesn't work. Cell destroys 16 and blows his head clean off before unleashing the Cell Juniors to torment the other Z fighters in an attempt to enrage Gohan. Once we get done beating through the Cell Juniors with every other character, we get the iconic scene. 16's head is placed on the ground near Gohan by Hercule, and 16 tells Gohan not to be afraid of his own power, not to run from his own emotions, and his final words to Gohan, "Let it go," uttered just before Cell crushes 16's head under his foot. With that, Gohan has finally had enough, and he explodes in rage, unlocking his Super Saiyan 2 form. We get all the buffs, and our ki doesn't drain here, and our health regens crazy fast, so it's smack downtown for Daddy Cell. After Gohan hits Cell so hard, he spits out 18, Cell inflates himself. Look at this sprite. Holy shit. Cell is going to blow himself up and take the entire Earth with it. But Goku makes a sacrifice and teleports himself and Cell to King Kai's planet just in time for Cell to kill them both. The sacrifice didn't work though. Cell reforms and comes back even stronger than his previous perfect form, with a new purpose in life in the form of ending the entire goddamn universe. Goku chimes in through telepathy, offering encouragement to Gohan as we finish the fight, father and son combining power in one massive Kamehameha wave. The final bit here is really dramatic and well done, especially compared to the soggy fart of the previous game's climax. With Cell dead, there's only one more thing to take care of. The Dragon Balls are done baking, and we summon Shenron to wish back all of the people killed by the androids. Sadly, Goku can't be resurrected again, and Goku telepaths in to tell everyone that this is how it should be, and to say goodbye. The final wish is made by Krillin, who wishes for the remaining bombs to be removed from the androids so they can live normal lives how they see fit. We then see Gohan flying across some of the game's environments just before landing back home with Chi-Chi. The credits roll and we get a post-credit scene of Trunks returning to his timeline and absolutely wrecking the androids and Cell too. Then it's back to the title screen, where we can pick up from right before the final battle to take care of any side quests and such or do more grinding. Okay, this ended up way longer than I planned, and I could have rambled on a lot more. Legacy of Goku 2 takes everything from the first game, polishes it to a beautiful shine, and fixes all of the problems I had with the first. The combat was a joy, the characters were a joy, the visuals, the presentation, the mechanics, the UI, this is good stuff. It does have those 2 huge pace-breaking story sections, but that wasn't anywhere near enough to make me want to stop playing. Finally playing this game genuinely made me fall back in love with Game Boy Advance era games. For a long time now, I just haven't been able to get myself to maintain enough interest to play through GBA games for fun. This changed things though. I was reminded of the crazy quality that was present on the system outside of the Pokemon games. You just have to wade through some shovelware to get to it. So the question of, does Legacy of Goku 2 live up to the hype that I remember? It absolutely does. It deserves all of its hype, and I can't wait to play the third game. I've got a few things coming down the pipeline first though, so watch out for those videos. As we end off, an undying thank you to my Patreon supporters who are constant sources of encouragement. You too can support for as little as $2 a month. I also have a Discord where we talk about stuff and say nice things to each other, and the links to both are in the description below. So until next time, I love you all.